What's going on, guys? My name is Joey Franzo with Flex Training Systems, and today bringing you a video in regards to cardio for powerlifting, or just a general lifter. I'm gonna go ahead and break down a question I got from my buddy Keish Sharma. Keish, what's going on, man? Very good question here. Basically, Keish wants to know my thoughts on cardiovascular health for both the powerlifter and the general athlete that wants a more balanced routine. I enjoy cardio here and there just because I feel like I recover faster set to set now. Alright, so benefits, risks. Let's get into it. So cardio in general is healthy. If you are a powerlifter, so the majority of your training is going to go towards increasing your 1 rep maximum. This can be done without having very good cardio at all, but I think that there are some benefits to doing sets of, like I'll just use myself as an example, sets of 6, 7, 8, potentially 9, and really trying to push that. For squat, I think 7 is a nice little sweet spot, 7, 8. If you're a girl, you could probably handle 9, 10. I know some girls that even go up to 12. Then again, it just depends on the load that you are using and the individual. I think, really trying to push those sets of 8 and like progress on them can be very, very useful. It is a different type of training. Obviously, you're not moving as heavy of a weight. But I've seen very good results doing things like that. So you might, if you're not very good, like if you're just completely out of shape and you're dying, then obviously that's going to inhibit the amount of weight you can lift doing that. But it should get better, week to week. Your cardiovascular, whatever that mechanism is and how it adapts to stimulus, it gets better relatively quickly. Human beings are designed to, walk for miles a day, run for, jog for a super long time. We're distance athletes, unlike, for example, like let's say a gorilla, athletes, I mean animals. We are animals, but like a gorilla, for example, they might be very, very strong in a short burst, and they might be able to move, 10 yards very quickly, but they're not going to be able to, travel. They're not nomads. They live, in their one little area. So the human body is very good at adapting to those longer cardio bouts. So what you would want ideally is for your cardiovascular health to exceed, you want it to be better than what you can handle from a strength perspective. To where you can do that set of 8 and you're not really worrying about metabolic fatigue as you are worrying about just like lifting as much weight as you can. If you're having problems doing like bare minimum sets of 5, like if you can't do sets of 5 without getting winded on like the 4th rep, that's really bad. What you can do is like start adding in some walking. Start slow, start with walking or an elliptical or an uphill treadmill or something like that. Maybe walk your dog 2 or 3 times a week, and that'll just be, a steady variable that you don't really change. And what will happen is over time, your body kind of like keeps track of the energy that you're expending all the time. It has to do this because we want to survive, right? So imagine if all the work you do in 1 week can be defined by a unit of X, right? So you're used to doing X, and if you want to be able to, do your sets of 8 and do your deadlifts for high reps and do your bench for high reps, you need to do X plus 2. Let's just say that. So you start adding in some list cardio, and at first, so now we've moved up to X plus 1, but you're not adapted to X plus 1 yet. You're not used to that amount of work. So that first week, maybe like 10 days, it's going to be, you might take a dip in your recovery, especially if you're trying to maintain your weight or if you're not eating more to compensate. there might be a very small dip in your recovery, but then eventually your body is going to adapt to that X plus 1, and you might be X plus 1.5. You know what I mean? And then you can slowly add more from there. And then when you get close to a competition, you're going to take all that out because you're not doing as much. So you're recovering at X plus 2, but you're bringing your training back down to X, right? So you're going, because we're taking away volume, we're keeping the intensity there. And what's going to happen is there's going to be a short period of 1, 2, maybe 3 weeks where you're going to be recovering. You're going to be super compensating. You're going to be recovering higher than what you're actually doing, and that's what we want. And if you can utilize this technique, so you're kind of using that cardio to give you a little boost. It's the same thing with let's say, like, for example, I've done even myself and my girlfriend are the two examples I can think of immediately off my head. I've done like bench only competitions, and I've done full power competitions, obviously. And when I'm getting ready for a bench only competition, I'm pulling out squats and deadlifts like a little bit normal, like sooner than I would. And what happens is, I'm not doing any cardio, but I'm getting that extra little boost to recovery. Those resources are going to be allocated towards my bench press. So. And that's why, like, in a bench only meet, you should be able to lift like 5 to 10 pounds more than you would after peaking, like in a full power meet. So it's like a considerable difference, at least for myself and the lifters that I've taken in those situations. Which is like, my boy from the UK, Alec. Shout out to my man Alec, and then my man Victor. He was at Bench Nationals with me. I'm sure I'm forgetting someone off the top of my head, but anyway. Not bench only is like one of those, like, it's like a fun thing and we can do it, but full power is where the money's at. But yeah, so little cardio like that, adding in gradual lower steady state cardio can be beneficial. It's healthy. I can tell you that me doing a little bit more of that now that I'm down a couple pounds. Double digits now, which is nice. I already feel like exponentially better. I can only imagine how I'm going to feel in another 10 pounds. What you don't want to be doing is so much cardio to the point where it's cutting into your recovery. So like high intensity stuff. If it's like very short, if we're talking like 10 minutes like of all out, maybe like 3-4 bouts all out in a 10-minute period, you'll probably be okay. Maybe not the first week, but try to do it after your training. You want to be able to give your training the most effort that you can. And if you're doing intervals before you squat, obviously your squat's going to take a hit. So cardio can be a good thing. I think you don't have to do list cardio. You can just keep working on your sets of 8 and give it time. Remember, like, the human body will adapt to specific stress. So if you're going to do X thing, then it's going to adapt to that, and then you can slowly increase it from there. If you like walking your dog, if you like riding your bike, if you like doing all that stuff, then and it's like something that's very enjoyable for you, and it can maybe help facilitate a little bit of weight loss, then I would say try to structure your program in a way that would allow you to get both done, obviously prioritizing whatever is more important for you. So I think cardio is a good thing. I don't think it's bad at all. I go on walks at least once or twice a week, and sometimes I'll go to the gym and do some jump on that elliptical. Got to be careful because I got a shitty hip. But Keish, my man, I hope that answers your question. There are some cool little tricks we can do with cardio to help us get a better peak. There are some cool little tricks with cardio that can help you kind of adapt to just being able to train a little bit better because you're just in better shape. But I don't really think that doing a ton of list cardio is going to help you PR your 8 rep squat max. It might help with some cardiovascular It's a different type of cardio. That's the reason why I'm saying that. But if you're not doing anything at all, then any cardio is gonna help. Anyway, thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you're able to take something away from that. Maybe I provided a perspective that you didn't normally think about or haven't heard before. I know that cardio is a topic that's probably been covered over 1,000,000 times on YouTube. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for listening. And if you have any more questions you may or may not like answered, go ahead and drop it down below. If it's a good one, I might expand on it. But yeah, see you in the next one.